Okay, so I have a real treat for you. We're going to watch the Russian media monitor. We're going to watch Solovyov and Alex Jones. If you don't know who Alex Jones is, if Solovyov is the chief conspirator, propagandist in Russia, Alex Jones might have that role in the United States. In fact, if I had to keep only one of them, I'm not sure who I would want to keep less. It's a horse race between the two of them. And I'm not making that up. I'm not being facetious. Alex Jones is a real piece of work. Alex Jones was actually convicted of a Connecticut jury ordered Alex Jones to pay nearly 1 billion with a B to Sandy Hook families. What happened? Well, on his conspiracy theory show, it's on the internet. I don't believe it's on actual TV show kind of stuff. He has millions and millions and millions of followers who believe this nonsense. He was actually making up stuff that Sandy Hook, which was a terrible shooting. There was a deranged guy that killed his mom, then went to an elementary school and shot up a bunch of kids, and then committed suicide. And he was saying it's not real. He said the families testified that to the trial that the lies spread by Jones led to harassment and threats by conspiracy theorists who have accused them of faking their own children's death in order to fulfill some global conspiracy. They described feeling unsafe in their own homes and hypervigilant in public. Some of the families actually moved away from Newtown, and he's charged with a $1 billion he has to pay for punitive damages. What about free speech? Well, free speech is one thing, but defamation is another, and you have to balance the two. These were private individuals who are being targeted now by these conspiracy loonies who are thinking like, well, they're just faking it. He also is charged with, charges the US government with faking the moon landing. So he's a little nuts. Earlier this year, Jones faced multiple defamation suits. He acknowledged in court the mass shootings at Sandy Hook was 100% real. He had to acknowledge that publicly as part of this court process. He expressed some regret for his statements, but last month he once again told his audience that people were right to raise questions about the massacre, saying, "I don't really know what happened there." Careful when people are saying, "I don't know what could have happened," because when they're doing that, they're saying they're like raising doubt intentionally. It's a pretty big mess. At any rate, let's get back to Solovyov and Alex Jones and hear what they have to say. This is like watching Dumb and Dumber. It's like one guy is bad and the other guy is worse, and I can't figure out which one's which. I will tell you this, look for this, when Alex Jones talks, he's going to talk about conspiracies, the globalists, they're everywhere, they're trying to take over. He's also going to talk about how he's a martyr, he's standing up against them, and they're trying to take me out. And then look for how he twists facts, like, I don't know if there was repression in the Soviet Union. Look for how he and Solovyov are in great agreement and how it doesn't even make sense. He's talking about God and free markets and Russian society, and the Russians aren't aggressive or aren't causing the problem or or whatever. It's a mess. But watch this. I don't even know what the reaction will be when you get done, whether your head will be spinning or you'll just be amused by it. But we're going to go through and we're going to unpack it. Here we go. All right, thank you also to the Russian Media Monitor for putting this together. Okay, here we are. Here's Solovyov. Good morning, dear friends. This will be perhaps the most unusual broadcast, evil from both worlds. Well, he's right about that. There is evil from both worlds. These two are the locus of evil, not them talking about evil. Okay, that's how the US media will describe it tomorrow. The most forbidden journalist in the United States. I question whether Alex Jones is actually a journalist in any meaningful sense. He's a conspiracy theory, he has a theorist, he has an audience, but I wouldn't call him a journalist. Journalists have certain standards of integrity that Jones just does not seem to have. Most forbidden journalist in all of the United States. I don't know any other journalist who faced this number of financial charges. Well, there's a reason for that, because he actually did break the law and commit a heinous crime. Like, if your children were murdered at school by some nut, and then I'd like, that's terrible. That's bad enough. But then this guy was out here saying they were faking it. This didn't really happen. This is a conspiracy, and the government's behind this, and and people then descended upon you to make your life heck because they don't, they think that you're part of a conspiracy. Like, what kind of unbelievable torture is this guy involved in? But he thinks he's on the side of mom and apple pie. Or actually, I don't know about him. I don't know that he thinks he's right. I can't quite tell if he's really convinced by his own conspiracy theories or if he's just trying to build his audience. I talked about this earlier in the Q&A where I was, the last video I did, where I was talking about how, like, watch out when people are just trying to build their audience. There is a real tendency for them to go very extreme, and he's about as extreme as they go. Okay, and this number of financial charges, he was sentenced to pay such an amount that doesn't even exist in the industry. Just because Alex Jones dared to say what he thought was the truth. No, it was not the truth. He told lies. He admitted in court that he told these lies. They were lies. There were lies compounded on lies. They were not the truth. He was not sentenced for saying the truth. But now it's considered the worst sin. If you tell the truth, you're not only forbidden to do it on the most popular of platforms, but they even try to convict you. If this is freedom of speech, what is non-freedom of speech? Okay, so there's a difference between freedom of speech. You're allowed to say what you're going to say, but if you're defaming or libeling someone that's a private citizen, like I can say what I want about Alex Jones because he put himself out there. That's different than talking about a private citizen who is actually minding their own business and now you're defaming their character, or if you put in writing, it's libel. Okay, Alex Jones is on air with us. Good morning to you. It's definitely a pleasure. It's good to be here while we're still alive. Okay, so start to look for this kind of thing, like before the world ends and we have to save the end of the world, save the world before we destroy ourselves, and that's why I'm here and I'm such a martyr and they're trying to take me out. Okay, and not dying in a nuclear war. Well, you know, it's one of those things. You never know. It could be our last and first, whatever discussion. But who cares? Basically, we live in hell. So finally, it's our job to stop it coming for everyone on Earth. Oh, they're so... I mean, I'm glad that they're protecting us. I mean, this is the way that they're framing themselves, and it's absolutely false. It's a facade. These guys are both like the most professional propagandists from Russia and the most professional propagandists from the United States. I live in an occupied globalist country, says Jones, with corporate oligarchs like Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates in control. They're arresting everybody. Now, this is factually untrue. Their corporate oligarchs have no power to be doing this. Oh, but they're working for the oligarchs. Come on. Okay, again, conspiracies tend to look at some global elite somewhere, whether it's the elite in Washington, the media elite that you can't trust the mainstream media, the corporate elite, the Klaus Schwabs, and they're always looking for that sort of thing. So be careful. That's a sure sign that they're talking conspiracy. They have dissolved our borders. They're annihilating us. They've occupied our countries. We know that George Soros started this war 9 years ago. So Soros is to blame? The average American understands this is your back door, your homeland. No, the average American does not think like you do. And so you're putting words in their mouth. The average American, the majority of Americans, think that Russia is the aggressor. There's a small fragment of the population, maybe as much as a third, but it's a small portion of it, maybe probably more like 25%. That thinks like you do. This is your back door. This is where Russia started in Ukraine. The average America is not with NATO. Factually untrue. Not with globalists. Our country is captured. It's the globalists and NATO in the West attacking Russia. Well, wait a minute. They're attacking Russia. They're not actually attacking. They're supplying Ukraine with arms to attack Russia because Russia invaded Ukraine. And you're kind of leaving that part out. They bragged about it. Victoria Nuland and all of them. As a loyal American, I'm against the hijackers of our country. I've been under these people. I want the Russian people to know that just like you had oligarchs and you were occupied for a few years after the fall of the Soviet Union, but you kicked them out. Okay, they have oligarchs still. They haven't kicked them out. These oligarchs still have a lot of power and control. I don't know what he's saying here. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It wasn't a was like that. It is like that. But you kick them out. We're in a struggle, in a death battle to remove the controllers of our country. Okay, so controllers of our country. Again, it's the conspiracy theory. These elite who are doing this thing to us, and we have to fight them off. Okay. Alex, I apologize. Now here he's going to have technical difficulties. They can't hear each other. 20 years ago, I lived in Alabama. I loved listening to the Rush Limbaugh show. Unfortunately, he passed away. Now, let me also preface something. Rush Limbaugh, and I want to make this absolutely clear, is nowhere near where Alex Jones is. If you're a liberal, you don't like Rush Limbaugh. If you're a conservative, you probably do. But if Rush Limbaugh was here, Alex Jones is here in propaganda kind of value. There's no comparison between this. Rush didn't like Democrats and fought with Democrats because he was a Republican. But he wasn't talking about how the global elites are going to cause this and that conspiracy to happen, and you have to watch this because the elites are doing all that. It wasn't like that at all with Rush. It's a very different thing. Unfortunately, he passed away. You remind me of the best years of Rush Limbaugh. With your tempo, with your energy, and with your willingness to tell the truth. Actually, he told lies, and he was convicted of that, and he has to pay $1 billion with a B, $1 billion for the lies that he's told, for the harm that he has caused to these families who were suffering. He's a bad guy. He's not a positive influence. Nowadays, they're scared of you being this star. Now they're trying to change whatever is around you. There is only one person who's trying to tell that truth. Like, they're always talking about how they're the only ones telling the truth. Okay, either I'm lying and my side is lying, or they're lying, or we're both lying. That could be a possibility as well. But I don't think that we can all be telling the truth. Like, that just doesn't work logically. Now, I'm trying to back everything that I do with facts, and I show that I have 700 some odd previous videos where I'm trying to show you, to lay out context, show from the news articles where I'm talking about things. Go back to those. He doesn't do that, or when he does, he twists it in an incredible way. It's very much like what you see in Pravda or RT. There's only one person telling the truth, Trump, and now they're killing Trump. They're just crucifying Trump. What happened with your country? How did you allow them to hijack your country? Okay, by the way, Trump creates his own problems. Okay, so that's just how Trump rolls. He is fast and loose with the facts very often, and that's whatever. But his greater point is that they're crucifying Trump. Well, the left is really doing their best to keep Trump out of this election, and in the process, they're building him. And it's bizarre to see because, like, don't do that if you want him to not be your candidate. Okay, at any rate, how did you allow them to hijack your country? That's a great question. It was guilt. America is not perfect. Unfortunately, I can't hear you. They start having these technical issues. Guys, I can't hear Alex. It was like a godsend that they had these technical issues. Can you hear me? Can the techie say what's happening? I can hear you in my ear, so that's clearly not the problem. Please fix the connection. Alex, if you can, yeah, finally, good. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Probably the CIA was trying to do something, not allow us to continue our conversation. No, the CIA wasn't really that involved. Sorry. You can't blame everything that goes wrong with you on that outside force when you're just technically incompetent. But we succeed. Well, I'm not trying to be dramatic, says Alex Jones, but I literally got followed from my house to here. I'll be followed tonight. I know it's morning in Russia. I get that if we all laugh about it, I do, but this is very serious. You're talking about, how have I survived? They saw me in 2016. It was 40 million viewers. Okay, let's stop there for a moment. When he's talking about how many viewers he has, and he's all about how many viewers and that kind of thing, that's a sign that he's all about that kind of thing and maybe less about what's true. Okay, so just be aware of that. Hold on a sec. It was 40 million viewers. They came after us, shut us down, sued us. I take major satisfaction in knowing that there's RFK Jr., Russell Brand, Joe Rogan. There's a major awakening happening. Okay, and they're starting to have technical problems again. And they can't figure out the technical problems. And there's silence. Can you fix this so I can hear what he's saying? So I don't have to turn on our downstream or our own stream to hear you. It's a good thing. I can read his lips. Still having the technical problems. Make it work. Sorry, boss. Sometimes I have to raise hell. No, my crew is good too, but I get mad at them. Go ahead. Figure out your buttons at long last. Can you fix the connectivity or not? Are the editors silent? If there's a problem with the console, I should know this before we go on the air with Alex. And not during your effing silence. This is why at some point we lost Russia. This is why Americans lost the United States. Because people can't do their jobs correctly. What does it mean you're having console problems? You're having problems with your fingers. I'll be completely honest with you, says Jones. The situation is desperate. I've held on because I have millions of supporters, but it's absolute hell. I won't get into it, but just imagine, it's been hellish. It's only God that keeps me alive. Now, I can't stand when he's invoking God, and it's this weird mix, because they invoke God and they invoke the free market, and he's going to be skeptical that anything bad, authoritarian like happened in the Soviet Union in just a bit, and he's pro-Russia, not realizing that what Russia's doing is like, it's this weird mix of things, but let's keep going. But things are coming to a head. That's why I'm here, telling the Russian people, we know you're not expansionist. Stop. Russia is expansionist, and he's here telling the Russian people, trying to expand his audience. He's trying to, this Solovyov is giving him a platform for people that are kind of already like him and would already be amenable to listening to him. So that's why he's there. It's not as... because we know you're not attacking us. Polls show that the average American doesn't want to go to war with you. And that's the first thing that he said that is true. The average American does not want to go to war with Russia. That's fair. We're sorry that our country has been hijacked. A lot of Americans admire Russia. It's a small percentage. You look at Pew Research polls and you'll find that it's a very small percentage. And this is true across most countries, except India for some bizarre reason I don't fully understand. They admire you and admire Putin because you've been able to fight this off. That's where we are, and I know they'll come after me. He's such a martyr. So be it, because this is just the way it is. I just hope we can stop a nuclear war. And I hope that we can come together and promote global freedom, a free market. Well, that's not what Russia's doing. They're not promoting global freedom, a free market, a Christian society. That's not it. You've got beautiful resources. We have amazing resources. It's so smart for us to work together, except it's not, because Russia is a bully and they're riding roughshod over Ukraine, who's fighting for their lives in order to repel an invader that is intent on genocide. So it's not beautiful at all. Solovyov, exactly. For 8 years, I've been accused of being a Russian agent. Senate hearings, congressional hearings, the Pentagon, 7 or 8 years ago said, Alex Jones is a Russian agent. Well, what they said was, because you are repeating Russian talking points, whether you work for Russia or not is beside the point. So I had to learn about my supposed boss, I'm being accused of. No, I'm an agent of life, an agent of freedom. Solovyov, an agent of God. I'm an agent of the Constitution. Okay, no, you're not. You're an agent of conspiracy theories and lies. I did my doctoral dissertation on the Constitution. You're not an agent of the Constitution, let me tell you. I'm not going to let these elites and globalists that have hijacked our country, they are the enemy, and they are the point. They point at Russia and they say, oh, they did this. This is the voice of the American people. Alex Jones. America is gone. We're in a full-scale CIA dictatorship. Okay, he's just making crap up. Honestly, he's just making crap up. Like, you can't actually prove any of what he's saying, and that's the real difference here between what journalists do and what he does. He can say whatever he wants. He's fairly free as long as he's not defaming people. To say we're in a CIA dictatorship, he has to have freedom of speech. But where is the evidence that he needs? Okay, sorry, I'm belaboring this. America's gone. We're a full-scale CIA dictatorship. They hate America. That's why I'm a loyal American. I want everybody to know this is not America. We're in a full system and we're barely hanging on. And these people are psychotic. Well, I agree, but these people that are psychotic are these two people here that are psychotic. The globalists, for whatever reason, have a hatred of Russians. Okay, I'll tell you what the reason is. The reason is they interrupted the international order by wantonly violating a sovereign country, killing people, raping people, murdering people, doing all these bad things, genocidally taking their children away from them to somewhere where they can't find them. This is why they hate Russians. Where they didn't hate Russians in January of 2022, but after they invaded, they do. I'm trying to figure it out. They have a hate for Russians. We're under total attack. People like you know in Russia, it's insane. And the control is what I read about that supposedly happened in the Soviet Union. Supposedly happened in the Soviet Union. Supposedly. Like, okay, at this point, I discount everything that he has to say. If he's unwilling to believe the clearly documented repression in the Soviet Union. I've been to parts of the former Soviet Union and clearly there was repression. I don't know if that actually happened, he says. What? What I read about over there is happening here, and I'm strong enough by the grace of God and my supporters to be holding up like a lighthouse in the storm. He's such a martyr. But I don't plan on being here tomorrow. They're coming down on us right now. They're just like coming down on you. So God help us. Nowadays, Russia's becoming the Noah's Ark, the only place where people like you can go. Not because they love Russia, but because it is the last safe haven for people with conservative views. No, it's not the last safe haven. I have conservative views. I'm a conservative who supports Ukraine. I do not want Russia or more of Russia spread throughout the world. We don't want the Ruski Mir, where people who believe in God can live freely. I'm proud of you. I admire you. I don't care. I'm telling the truth. Well, you're not telling the truth. You got that sentence wrong. It's, I don't tell the truth. Maybe you care, I don't know, but you're not telling the truth. I have to admit that my country is captured and they're persecuting us for fighting them. It's really bad. We can hold on, it's really bad. That's why I'm really concerned. People need to know you already have people dying in this war, but you have to understand it's intense. This isn't a game. It can come to us. I stand against the occupiers of my country, even though they got the guys that are ready to kill me tomorrow. Again, here he goes with that same narrative about how he's some martyr who's just standing up against the man and he's going to, hold out. You're not that important, Alex. But with your conspiracies as being the one that reveals the Gnostic gospel of this conspiracy to the unenlightened masses, that's like how you see yourself. That's why I'm telling everybody this could be my last message. Hope, dare to dream. We don't hate the American people. We've all been created by God. So who's fighting against us? Well, the people that you're fighting in Ukraine that you shouldn't be fighting are fighting against you because you've violated their territory and killed their people. So that's who's fighting against you. Who's trying to destroy our countries? So now you're a Russian spy, and if you say something against them, you're a Russian propagandist. You cannot have your own voice. Well, he is kind of a Russian propagandist, and he's a conspiracy theorist and kind of a crackpot. You cannot have your own voice. Why? Do they want to debate with you? No. They want to destroy you. They're so scared of your voice. They're so scared of freedom. That's not it. That's the poorest analysis that I've seen in the entire year and a half that I've been doing this. That is the absolute worst analysis. No, they recognize that you're a conspiracy theorist leading people off a cliff. That's the wrong direction. It's not because they're afraid of freedom. That's why they want to blame you. They want you to be silent. Well, that's true. If tomorrow you tell them, I'm so sorry, guys, you'll have whatever show you want on whatever channel you want. I'm not sure it works that way in the United States. It works that way in Russia, but I'm not sure Solovyov is thinking about how it actually works. They'll give you everything. They'll give you contracts with major networks. I'll be honest with you, I want to go to Russia. I want to meet the Russians. I want to find out why my enemies hate them so much. You know, Alex, my studio is your studio. Anytime, my house is your house. If you want to come to Russia with all your family, be my guest. You can stay as long as you want. Whatever you want, you'll have it. As an American patriot, I don't want to give $200 billion to Ukraine. As an American patriot, I want to make oil deals and business deals with Russia because you don't care, because you're such a patriot that you don't care that a democratic country is being overrun by an authoritarian regime, and you want to make oil and gas deals with them. Great, awesome. America is a beautiful woman. Russia is a beautiful woman. We should be working together. This is stupid. Well, I agree that this is stupid, but not for the reasons that he's saying. Now, here he's going to go and get a little weird. He's going to confound the Soviet Union that he didn't think was actually a bad thing or authoritarian with, we need a free market. We need prosperity. And now I'm accused of being a Russian. I've never followed Russians until I got accused of it. So he wants a free market, which I do. I'm a free marketeer as well. He wants a free market, but he thought the Soviet Union was okay. And this was like, I don't know if he's shading something or if he's just ignorant. But those things don't go together. I've never followed the Russians until I got accused of it, and I found out that the Russians are just like Americans. They're just like people who live in the countryside or live in the city. They're just like us. That's my message to the CIA that's watching tonight. The globalists want to eat Russia and they want to eat me. To understand their mindset, they're cannibals. And that's why I came on your show. It's not because you want to expand your audience another million or so by Russians who are, taken in by your conspiracy nutjob theories. They're going to come down after me so hard after this. Like you said, Tucker Carlson is a dead man walking. I talked to him 2 days ago. He knows it. He's going all in. I'm all in, you're all in for humanity, for fatherhood, and for motherhood. And we just gotta say, hey, listen, globalist, we're calling your bluff, man. And they'll blow me away next week or indict me next week. They're trying. It's gonna make us bigger. Again, he's all after being made bigger. Like, that's what he's after. And he doesn't care what conspiracy theories he's chasing down here. I don't know. He might fully believe this, but I don't know that he does. And my gut tells me he knows he's not really being fair with some of the truth sometimes. Because I'm not going to cry when they do it. We got to be ready to do it, because this is it, folks. If you don't stand up now, you're done. The perfect knight in shining armor, Alex Jones. Fighting for God and for what he believes in. Alex, it was a pleasure, and I'm honored. Thank you. And now for the weather. Okay, that was it. So you got to see this for yourself. I mean, I didn't put any words in any of their mouths. You saw all the transcription, but these guys are just like in conspiracy la la land. And okay, if you tether yourself to reality by making sure that you're grounded in both your assumptions and the facts. Now, there's two different things. Facts are, this happened. The assumption is, why did it happen? But if you make sure that you're grounded, like if you can't tell me that what happened in the Soviet Union actually happened in the Soviet Union, then I'm going to discount everything else you say from that point forward. But you heard it for yourself. That was Alex Jones talking with Vladimir Solovyov. Again, I'm not sure which one. There's Dumb and Dumber, and I'm not sure which one is which. These guys are just, they're both terrible. Okay, tell me what you think. I'm happy to hear your comments or your thoughts. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the coffees, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.